Some changes in leadership recently in the city of Orchard Lake Village as now former Lieutenant Jeffrey Gomez was recently named the new Chief of Police for the city of Orchard Lake Village. Joining us now on the program is the newly named Chief Gomez from the city of Orchard Lake Village. Thank you so much for being with us, and congratulations on your new job, Chief.
Thank you, Tyler. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to have you on, as you've been with the Orchard Lake Police Department for some time now, serving as a lieutenant and in other capacities with the department as well. So what's this transition been like for you, going from that position of leadership to the top position of leadership in the department as the new chief?
To me, it's been pretty easy. I considered my role as lieutenant with the department here as kind of on-the-job training to eventually take over someday when Chief Nicholson retired, and I was able to do so. So the transition's been pretty smooth.
And you had mentioned Chief Nicholson, his retirement. He was the previous police chief. And before him, it was longtime Orchard Lake Police Chief Joe George, who was at your swearing-in ceremony, was able to put his former badge onto your uniform and anoint you as the new chief, as you're seeing on the screen on civiccentertv.com. For you, Chief, having that honor passed on to you from a longtime serving chief, how was that for you as someone that worked with Chief George for a number of years and now gets to take the influence he had on your career and make that same impact on this local community?
It was quite the honor, Tyler. I could think of no one else I would want to pin that badge on my chest. Chief George pushed me. Back when I started, I was a new officer when he took over as chief, and he asked me how I liked the job, and I remember telling him it's the greatest job in the world, and I still feel this way today. And I remember telling him several years later that I like patrol. I think I'll just be a patrol officer for my career. And he said, "Nope, I see more in you, and I'm going to push you." And he did. So under his leadership, I tested for sergeant and was promoted to sergeant back in 2020, and then worked my way up the ranks from there. So it was quite the honor to have Chief George here that night to pin one of his former badges on my chest.
And for you, Chief, that encouragement and that leadership that he presented to you, how is that influencing the way that you're going to be interacting with your new officers and those that are in your department now, as they're pursuing advancing in their career, both in Orchard Lake or even beyond that in public service?
Well, he's certainly put an impression on this department, and there are certain aspects of his management style that I have certainly incorporated into mine. And I will be using those learning experiences to pass along to other officers to encourage them as well.
Chief Jeffrey Gomez joins us on the Splash Live, the new Orchard Lake Village Chief of Police, joining us on the program today as he replaced Bill Nicholson in that position, sworn in just a few weeks ago by Representative Noah Arbit, who represents the Lakes area in our state Congress and received his badge, as we mentioned, as we showed, from former Chief Joe George of the city of Orchard Lake Village. And Chief, managing the police department of a small town like Orchard Lake Village presents its own challenges. It's different from running a big city department or even a big suburban department, but given that you have so many other departments nearby and so much of our local communities are intertwined, what sort of challenges does that present to you, and how do you manage those, being the chief of police in a smaller, close-knit city like Orchard Lake Village?
Well, in a small department, you have to do more with less. And I'm not saying that we couldn't lean on the larger departments, which we certainly do, but I don't have a staff to handle certain things. A lot of things I handle myself. And we're just used to that being in a small department. Again, like I mentioned, you just have a less number of staff around to complete certain tasks. So that can be a challenge. I also realize that I'm not absolved of my other duties here in the police department if it comes down to it. I'm ready, willing, and able to hit the road and fill in a patrol if need be, or assist with investigations, evidence processing, vehicle management, any and all of the above. So those can be some of the challenges. But the thing is, here we have a great group of people, and I can depend on all of them to get the job done.
the city of Orchard Lake Village's new chief of police, Jeff Gomez, joins us on the Splash Live today to talk about, of course, joining a new rank in the Orchard Lake Village Police Department, but also ongoing issues in the city. And Chief Gomez, this is not new to our local area, and not necessarily all that common either. But we've seen recently some upticks in larceny from autos incidents, both in Keiko Harbor. West Bloomfield has mentioned this as being an increased issue of late, and even your department posting on its Facebook page lately that this has been something that's been a growing issue. So what message do you have for the community in terms of how they can raise their awareness, but also the protection of their belongings in their vehicle themselves, or even their homes this holiday season?
Yes, as you mentioned, we have certainly seen an increase in these types of crimes. Want to reiterate that the greater West Bloomfield area is a very safe area, but we're not isolated from these types of incidents. So we're asking the public to just please assist us by turning on exterior lighting at night, locking your vehicles, taking any valuables out of your vehicles, and also with your home, setting your alarms. If you see something, say something, all the above. We don't mind sending an officer out to check the area. Even if it's nothing, we'd rather it be nothing, but we'd rather have an officer come out and check the area and verify that. So those are just some small things that the public can do to assist us in helping keep them safe or from potentially being a victim of a crime.
Yeah, having awareness of these steps that you can take is a huge part in, plays a huge role in preventing these crimes from happening in our communities. Chief Fitzgerald down the road from you in Keiko Harbor has always said the line, crime of opportunity, when it comes to this. And that's really what this comes down to, is limiting or eliminating altogether the opportunity for criminals that may be looking to get into your vehicle or steal items or get into your home from having those opportunities to see something that they could take and potentially run away with. And so that's always good advice from our local police departments. Chief Jeffrey Gomez joins us from the Orchard Lake Police Department on today's edition of the Splash Live, having just been promoted to chief a few weeks ago and already off to a great start in the city of Orchard Lake Village. And Chief Gomez, it's no secret that in the past few years there's been some changes also to the facilities in the city of Orchard Lake Village. Particularly the police department facilities got quite the upgrade over the last few years off of that bond. How has that been a help to the city in providing the services that it needs to, from the police department to the city, and especially given that, as you said, it's a small department, a lot of people have to take on a lot more duties than maybe they would in other police departments to make up for that? How did having those facilities up to date really help in putting that effort full forward and at 100% capacity?
Well, the new building has been great. It's instrumental in that mission. It provides a safer environment for us to do our jobs. We're not walking prisoners in from outside anymore. We have a secure area to bring them in through a sally port that's not exposed to the public. Prior, in the old setup, I'm sure you remember that you could see the booking area from the front desk. It was a safety hazard. Not only from a safety standpoint, also risk management, all the above. We just need to make sure that we're doing the right things in a modern police department. The other thing that really helps out is having our vehicles stored inside. They're secure. They're outside of the elements. They're ready to respond at a moment's notice. We don't have to clear snow and ice off. We don't have to wait for cameras and computers to boot up to operating temperature. They're just ready to go. So it's, from a safety standpoint, those are really key elements. And we've also expanded to include workout facilities for the officers, which is good. We want to promote health amongst the officers to be able to do their jobs out on the street. And as far as, like I said, the lockup facility, it's required in a modern police department. We have secure facilities to keep people separate now, and that's been really a key element.
Chief Jeffrey Gomez from the Orchard Lake Village Police Department joins us on the Splash Live today as we help to introduce him to the greater community as he begins this new role of higher leadership in the Orchard Lake Village Police Department. Chief Gomez, before we let you go, there's been so much discourse over the past several years about the role of police departments, about public safety and law enforcement in our communities. What is your philosophy on the ideal role of a local police department in a city like Orchard Lake Village and in a close-knit community like we have here in the greater West Bloomfield area?
Well, it centers on community service, Tyler. We're here to go above and beyond for our residents, and I expect that. We always have, and I expect that to continue. It goes well beyond just responding or taking a report. Whatever the community needs, I expect our officers to do it, and they understand that. Yes, there's been a lot of focus on tumultuous relations between the community and the police nationally. I feel isolated, not, I'm sorry, not isolated. I feel like we don't have that problem here. Our community supports us and we support them. And we're blessed to be in a community that has a type of dynamic. Um, our officers are, there's a standing order that they are to be patrolling every subdivision street as long as they don't have other runs or other things going on, and it allows us to interact with the public. Here in Orchard Lake, we get used to seeing the same faces, and they get used to seeing us and develop relationships and rapport with people. I look forward to, once the transition kind of settles down, to me getting out in a patrol car and seeing some of the residents I haven't seen in a while since I've been off the road. So all good things.
Yeah, all good things indeed, and definitely another example of what the philosophy has been really across the board with all four of our local police departments here in the greater West Bloomfield area, and good to also hear that same philosophy continues in the city of Orchard Lake Village as you take over as Chief of Police. Chief Gomez, anything else you'd like to say before we let you go today?
No, I think that's all. And thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.